So, good morning, everybody. I'm Dipanjan Ghosh. Today, I want to discuss a chapter that is the chemical coordination and regulations. So, we know that there is a two regulatory systems. One is regulated by neuron, which is called the physical coordinations, and the another regulatory systems are also present in our body. That is the chemical coordinations that is actually done by hormone. Bayes and Steying in 1905, they have discovered hormone. And we know if we make comparisons between endocrine gland with exocrine gland, then we see that one is ducteous and one contain duct. Basically, endocrine gland are ducteous and their secretions are directly come to the blood. For example, is thyroid gland, adrenal gland, and pituitary gland. Whereas the exocrine gland are they contain duct, so the secretions is actually come through duct, and the examples are liver, salivary gland, and sweat gland. And we know different phytohormone. If we go to the plant, and we know the first hormone. For example, first hormone are adrenaline, and second hormone are thyroxine. So, and if we want to do the classifications of a hormone on the basis of their chemical nature, then we can find out that hormones are very few hormones are amines, that is the amino acid derivatives. Very few of them are protein and polypeptide uh, derivatives, and very few of them are steroid. For the amino acid derivatives are basically catecholamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine, and also triiodothyronine and thyroxine T3 and T4. Whereas protein and polypeptide derivatives are classified on the basis of their they contain the short chain or long chain. That's why they are short chain polypeptide and long chain polypeptide. Short chain polypeptides are antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin, whereas the long chain polypeptide are insulin, glucagon, parathormone, and hormones of anterior pituitary. Hormones of anterior pituitary. They are basically the long chain polypeptides. And we know the sex hormones are basically included within steroid hormone. Basically, the steroid derivatives such as glucocorticoids, that is cortisol and corticosterone, mineralocorticoids, that is the aldosterone, and sex steroids are estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Now I come to the aspect how do we classify hormone on the basis of their according to mode of function. According to mode of functions, they are group 1 hormone, group 2 hormone, group 2b. So group 2 have been classified into 4 category: group 2a, group 2b, group 3, and group 4. That is group 1a, group 2b, group 2c, and group 2d. So basically, on the basis of functions, group 1 hormone and group 2 hormone, and group 2 have been classified into 4 subcategory. That is group 2a, group 2b, group 3, group 2c, and group 2d. And if we go to the group 1 hormone, then we see the steroid and thyroid hormones are included within group 1 hormone. And we have to keep remember in our mind that is they are basically on the basis of their mode of functions. How do they do their functions? Okay. And group 2a hormones are basically adrenocorticotropic hormone, antidiuretic hormone, angiotensin 2, calcitonin, follicular stimulating hormone. So basically they do the functions through the psychic AMP messenger system. Whereas group 2 hormones are the atria and natriuretic ANP and the NO. That is the atria natriuretic peptide or the nitric oxides. Basically do the functions by psychic GMP. And group 2C hormones are the acetylcholine, gastrin, oxytocin, and the gonadotropin releasing hormone. Basically, whenever we discuss about the releasing hormone, then we have to keep remember that basically in hypothalamus there are hypothalamic nuclei, and that hypothalamic nuclei contain different neurosecretory cells which secretes different neurohormones, and that neurohormones will come to the anterior pituitary and secretes different hormones. So that's as they secrete different releasing hormones, so that's why they are called the releasing factor or the releasing hormones. So that concept should have to clear for all. And now I come to the aspect of group 2D hormone. Group 2D hormone are insulin, erythropoietin, and prolactin. So and if we go to the mechanism of actions of that particular hormone, then we uh, see hormone is actually bind to the target hormone is actually bind to the receptor, target the receptor, and to the functions. And receptors are of two types we see on the basis of their chemical nature, where very few of them are cell membrane receptor and very few of them are intercellular receptor. And we know how do they do the functions, such as G protein coupled receptor we know contain three subunit alpha, beta, and gamma. Example is a thyroid stimulating hormone. Basically, already I had mentioned how do the thyroid stimulating hormone do the functions. Basically, it will bind to the receptor of the cell membrane, and it will lead to the G protein activations, and that's which ultimately lead to the activations of adenine cyclase and convert the ATP to cyclic AMP, and by the phosphorylation process, it will do the it will provide the physical activity. And if we go to the intercellular receptor, then we can find out the different steroid hormones, basically testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and cortisol. Basically, they do the functions by intercellular receptor way. All steroid hormone and thyroid hormones do their functions through intercellular receptor. Basically, that thyroid hormone, particular thyroid hormone or steroid hormone, and come from extracellular fluid, and penetrate the cell membrane, and into come to the intercellular portions and bind to the receptor. And then whenever the binding process is actually proceed, then that hormone receptor element through mRNA and protein, it will do the physical activation. So that is through intercellular receptor. And we see it by inositide triphosphate, that is the IP3 and DAJ, that is diacylglyceride. So besides two second messenger systems, uh, G proteins also follow another pathway, that is by the activations of phospholipase C. It will activate the phosphatidylinositol 4,5 diphosphate, and by diacylglyceride it will do the functions. By activating protein kinase, it will do the functions. Okay. And calcium also plays a very pivotal role. It also acts as second messenger systems. We know, besides cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, or inositide triphosphate, or DAG, diacylglyceride, CA2PS also act as second messenger systems. Uh, mm, and it will, though it will depend on the concentrations of the calcium ions, and whenever calcium ions do the functions, then IP3 IP3 gives its work. Basically, it will give the work to the calcium. So that IP3 release that calciums to the from the endoplasmic reticulum, and it will enter through the ligand gated channel, and it will bind to the calcium chymodulin, and from calcium chymodulin, and through IP3 and DAG they will do the functions. So here I have mentioned some how do the second messenger system is actually do the functions, or the role of hormone as messenger and regulator. And we know that hormone basically act through the messenger system, and already I had mentioned how do the hormone act as messenger system. You know about hypothalamus, which remain to the near the third ventricle, and it contain the hypothalamic nucleus that contain different nuclei. uh, that neuron contain different neurosecretory cells, which I have mentioned, and that neurosecretory cells secrete some hormone which is called the neurohormone. Mm. and and that neurohormone is basically transported through the hypophyseal portal vein, and it will come to the pituitary gland. From pituitary gland, it will secrete hormone, and secrete hormones. So that's why the neurohormones is called the releasing factor. So there is a question why neurohormone is called the releasing factor. Because of that, because hypothalamus contain hypothalamic nuclei. That nuclei contain different neurosecretory cells. That neurosecretory cells secrete hormones. That hormones will come through hypophyseal portal systems to the pituitary gland and secrete hormones. That's why the neurohormone is called the releasing factors. So thank you.